Z and Y. So for me, this would be Y. But for you, you're probably using a US keyboard, so just leave it like that. Global is the next part. So first thing would be camera. Where is it? Here, base camera. So if you go way up, then it's kind of at the bottom. Base camera. Base camera means if you press, I'll put it on spacebar. If you press space now, so wait a second, I will accept, and I want to save it, and this will be saved to our profile, new grid hotkeys. If you haven't created a profile now or before, then the system will ask you to create a profile, because you cannot change the grid hotkeys because it's unchangeable. Okay, so camera and base camera again. So base camera means if you hit the spacebar, you will jump from any main building to the next main building. It's pretty random. Usually you will jump to the next main building, like a nexus or a command center or orbital command or a planetary fortress for that matter, or of course a hatchery. So this is most useful for Zerg players because you can jump from one hatchery to the next one. Only finished buildings though. If they are unfinished, then you cannot jump there. You have to click the minimap. So if you jump from hatchery to hatchery, you can like jump to the next hatchery, select the queen with a you can select the queen and then inject. So this is pretty useful as a technique to do the injects. For Terran and for Protoss, it's kind of useful, especially if you're a random player, I guess. But there might be better things to do. So for Terran, it's okay to do this. For Protoss, I would use spacebar for warp gate or something. But I will do that later. So next thing is create location 1 to 8 and jump to location 1 to 8. This is the camera location. So if you press a hotkey, you will jump to a certain place on the map. This is not so great for beginners. So if you want to skip that, you can skip this part of the video, but I will do this nonetheless. This will go to Control A, Control S, Control D, Control F. Okay, so if you have a look at your keyboard, like the left side of your keyboard, there's A, S, D, F, Z, X, C, and V. So these are 8, 2 times 4 keys, 8 keys, which are pretty near each other. So maybe it's pretty annoying at first to use this. So whenever you feel you have a better idea how to so which hotkeys you want to have or how you want to set them, that's fine, but please do it as I say, and at the end you can change it, because there will be a lot of hotkeys, and this is a pretty good example because other players are using it too. For example, Snoot uses these hotkey setups for create locations, for example, and it was from a homepage where I found this. So there are a lot of problems if you try to set up or try to do your own hotkey setup, and it's pretty complicated. So rather try this out, what I'm telling you, and at the end you can try it out, and then maybe you will find something better here and there. So this might be a little complicated, so think about it after the video if you want to try it. So of course Control Z is a bit weird for me because I have a German layout, so it would be Control Y for me, but you will do that for yourself or decide that for yourself. So jump to location is the same thing, but with the Alt key. So it's A. Okay, I should also mention that you probably have seen that. Whoa. Oh. I did some mistakes setting up the no, what the hell? Oh, okay. Okay, should be on Alt Z, but that's a hotkey that's I don't know why I cannot set that. Okay, so for example, I did the mistake left mouse button. So there will be a lot of unbound hotkeys, and this is a great mistake because you will probably do that too. So at the end of the video, we will have a look at the unbound hotkeys. You should definitely check them, but at the end, because you will do a mistake here and there probably. So, so Alt Z doesn't work here, but should be here. Like it's Control Z, and here it's Alt and Z. So X. Okay, so it's the same here and there in both sections. So it's one with Control key, one is with the Alt key. So you kind of click on the minimap on a certain position, like where your forges are at, or your engineering base are at, or where you want to drop the next mules, like always the latest base, where you have you took the latest base where you want to drop the mules. So you can you can save that position on the minimap with Control A, and then you jump to that location with Alt and A key. So then you can like check the upgrades or call down mules and so on. So next one will be control groups. By the way, you can collapse all here, so it's a bit less messy. Okay, so here you have like 3 sections. It's create control group, what you want to do, select control group, add to control group, and the 4th one would be add to control group and take away units. All right, so first you have to make a decision for yourselves. So I had some problems with discerning shift and the control key. So I always hit like shift or control and it was a bit messy. So what I did was I changed this to Alt 1, Alt 2, and so on until 4, 5, 6. So if you do not have the problem like noticing whether it's shift or control, then you can just leave it like it's now from 1 to 6. And if you want to try that out, you can do that. So might be weird for you, or if you have small fingers, then you might not be able to reach Alt and 6 or whatever. And you can also put that on your mouse if you have some spare keys on your mouse. All right, so definitely check out if you can reach Control and 6 or Control and 7. I can reach Control 7, or I can reach Control 8 barely, but not really. Like Control 7 would be the furthest, but I can reach like Alt key with my thumb and the middle finger and the 6 like this. Yeah. Alt key with my thumb and middle finger for the one. So next one. Now will get interesting because I will put it on Control F1, Control F2, Control F3, Control F4. Well, of course you don't want Alt and F4 on a hotkey. So take another look at your keyboard on the left side. You have the grid hotkey layout, which goes from Q to T, A to G, and Z to B. So these are your 15 hotkeys. And you can reach them quite easily if you have like the pointing finger at F and the small finger at Z, the ring finger on S and the middle finger on E, the thumb kind of on the spacebar. So the pointing finger on F is like your sense of direction. You know where you're at, that your hand is at the right place. And while we're at it, and before I forget it, there's a really cool video from day 9. It's pretty old, but it's very useful. It's about how to sit and where to put your hand wrist and so on. So it's pretty informative. It's very good. It's like you should have your hand wrist near the edge of your table for both mouse and keyboard, so you're going to be a lot faster. Okay, so we have the grid hotkeys, which is Q to T, A to G, and Z to B. We have the control groups, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and above them F1, F2, F3, F4. So everything is in reach of the left hand. It's all in one place. Also the camera hotkeys, they are also for in range of the left hand. So everything is in one place, which is really great. So we'll leave 1 to 6 here, of course. Select control group 1 to 6 will stay here, of course. Select control group 7 to 10 would be F1, F2, F3, and F4. Add to control group, you can leave it like this, like 1 to 6 again, but it will be Shift F1, Shift F2, Shift F3, and Shift F4. So, okay. Is that? Okay, so if you add a unit to a control group, that's pretty nice, but sometimes, especially if you are a Zerg player, you want to use this last section. It's, for example, you build a lot of Zerglings, like you build 20 Zerglings. And while they are hatching, you control click on the eggs and press Shift 1 to have them added to your first control group, to your first army group. And when they hatched, you might want to morph banelings right away, or you want to morph banelings later. But those banelings will be on control group 1, and you want to have them on another control group, because you always want to move command your banelings and attack move your lings, or retreat with your lings. So they are different kind of armies. Of course, you can use the all army button, but you should do that because it's way easier with hotkeys. Of course, it's also a question of training. So if you're used to use the all army button and you're used to select stuff and manage everything, that's fine. There's even players who are using the all army button who are GM players, but it causes a lot of problems, really. So there's Guru, for example. He's a very good Zerg player, but he still uses the all army button, I believe, and this is why he kind of lost to Snoot, or kind of it's not the only reason why he lost to